it's imperative that we have participation in everything, because I feel like if we feel like it's not for us, then it's almost like due diligence to participate and make sure that it is for us. Because lack of participation, it can be disastrous.
My question is, what's the end goal?
Mm-hmm.
Because for centuries we've been existing. I'm talking from a Caribbean perspective. Disclaimer. Our existence in the UK has been defined by labour, given our labour to these institutions. And I think because there isn't a collective conversation or a united goal as to what we do and what is the end goal, we just see ourselves working, and become cogs in the wheel. And I think that we don't necessarily always want to aspire for like a legacy that is about inflicting damage on the system, but rather a personal legacy about, or even a family legacy about generational wealth, which is important, don't get me wrong, but I think there's other ways to go about it.
Is there a level of like privilege that comes with being able to decide that you get to work for specific industries and get to actually decline opportunities to be able to work in specific spaces?
I think this is an unfair question, because you only ask people of colour or people that you describe as black this question. You wouldn't ask this question of white people. The institutions are still violent. The questions we really, I think, need to be asking ourselves is, what is our strategy to be able to move forward, to be able to develop legacy? To be able to do that, we actually have to be able to look at these organisations and say to ourselves, how can this serve me? I know it's an anti-racist organisation, but how can it serve me to make sure that I can put food on the table long enough that I don't have to worry about putting food on the table? Yeah. So in other words, we turn the tables and we use these institutions instead of allowing them just to take us for labour.
Yeah, that's a really powerful point. And I'll kind of brought this up in my group discussion, but it keeps bringing me back to this like really scary thing of we and this collective idea that, you know, we should do something. Like the well-being conversation is not really being had, and the individual function of what this community or this we thing is. As long as I'm going to live in this country, there are things that are going to be forced onto me that I must engage with, and if I don't, there will be things that will happen to me. So if I really don't want to partake, I should leave. So I don't think it's a realistic ask to say, what are we going to do? How are we? I think it's, what am I going to do? And what do I want within my very localized output?
People at the top are not like this. Do you know what I mean? Finance, the same thing. The big finance companies that run the world, they're not African, they're not Caribbean. So, you know, it's almost like no matter where we go, we're always going to be working for historically anti-black and violent institutions.
The idea of touch between men being robbed from them because we keep labeling all these other things on top of it.
Okay.
So you're not allowed to just hold your brother, you're not allowed to just hold your father or hold someone you love, because you know it will mean other things that could potentially put you in danger.
It's deep how we've been robbed of touch, because touch is so important. When you came in, we was talking about hugging, and what the pandemic did to hugging. But how we all need, because it's, I'm sure it's an electric charge when you hug somebody, you get reinvigorated. So to rob a whole culture of that touch because of the fear of being labelled gay or whatever, it's crazy.
Yeah, like the intimacy and how touch is robbed from black men when we're told that like physical touch, being tactile with one another is considered feminine, negative, given queer connotations, like that picture was actually. I see other men cry in football more than I do ever in life.
We need to think about how we create a space for black queer men, and not just black men, just black men in general, to come together and talk, to be able to hug each other, to be able to show one another, to be able to say that black men doesn't have to be this monolith, because I think as black men we need to embrace that difference, say actually this is how we want to be treated.
Yeah, so if I was a white supremacist, I'd love that. Because it's creating debate amongst our community, that we're questioning the position that a woman should have. The word that I heard is that every single one of these images is true. And yet we will deny it, that we have such diversity, we have such variety.
As a person in the black community, we can still have a critique of magazines and high culture without it being seen as an attack on who we are, what we're trying to convey, the messaging. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. But I do believe that these images do kind of push us forward, and actually for us, we need to kind of get behind these and actually kind of create conversations like we're doing today, especially with the younger generation, to make sure that they are also talking, because I think without the conversations, we don't actually know what's been internalized.
Okay, these images are, we felt like they were progressive, like, showing men in a more honest light, that men don't necessarily have to be just like binary, like masculine, but like, who's it for? And was it done by the right people, and what are the intentions behind it?
Okay, interesting. So do the black men in these particular images have a level of agency?
Yeah.
Like, did they choose to appear in this particular way? Does that, I guess I want to ask whether that makes a difference. Because if we're celebrating that these images are progressive and exist, does it matter that they made that choice?
So like, traditional masculinity, according to who? Because this is Hollywood. The images, how are they're taken, but in my world, that's what it looks like. According to Hollywood is telling me how that should look like. That middle picture, if two of my friends, or even my sons, my brothers, took this picture, I probably would look at it how it's being presented for this conversation. The writing forces me to have to now look at that because as anything other than an amazing black family, or just seeing the black family together. Who is feeding us these narratives when these narratives don't fit our actual life?
I feel like the more that this is seen and addressed and discussed and handled, it allows there to be more ways of being masculine.
I get what he's saying. I do get it. It's like, why can't he just be a phenomenal actor? It's like, I'm a great actor, I'm a great singer, I'm a great politician, I'm a great doctor. You can see that I'm black. But I shouldn't have to always, it shouldn't always have to be pointed out as though I shouldn't be here. I'm good at what I do because I put that time in, like everybody else, to be in this position. Take me as I am for the position I invested to be.
So for me, it makes total sense that he's still part of this conversation, where it's like, why do you keep trying to pigeonhole me because of my skin color? It makes total sense that he's still part of this conversation. Beyonce, she made maybe 4 albums that were purely like pop leaning before she was able to make like Formation. And so there was a level of, unfortunately, earning the right to say, I am who I am. And in that earning experience, there's a kind of, I have to use my blackness wisely.
It's true. No one ever thinks of her as being a black singer. She's just a singer. So I get what he's saying about just wanting to be an actor. However, because of the roles and the fact that there is context behind roles, i.e. he plays these like dictators in Africa, wherever, he's able to get those parts because of his blackness. it's almost a bit of a slap in the face to be like, oh, you've done that, now you don't want to be black anymore.
The idea of using this term black.
Yeah.
Black is a social construction. Factually, our skin complexion is not black. We have chosen to embrace that. But at some point in the future, we will have to acknowledge that it does not serve us. It's the reason why certain people in America emphasize African Americans is because that reflects the diversity of the African diaspora, whereas the term black does not. The term black makes it seem purely monolithic. And so, to bring it back to Idris, for me, this is the direction that we have to go in.
If you Google the connotation, just like you said, that comes with black, it comes with slavery, it comes with, spare chuckers in Africa, it comes with this. But when you say, okay, do you know what? Idris Elba is a Ghanaian, he's a British Ghanaian man. You can explore both of his heritage and accept him for who he is.